Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Now let's look at natural vegetation and wildlife. So natural vegetation is the forest, the plants that grows, and wildlife is animals, the different kinds of animals, right? Now natural vegetation, what does natural vegetation mean? It does not mean vegetable garden or vegetables, okay? It means plants which are grown naturally without any human interference. That is called natural vegetation. The trees that we see in the forest, as we drive through the mountains, we see the jungles and forests, they have just grown and thrived. They've just been like that without any human interference, right? So such natural growth of plants and plants without any human interference is called natural vegetation. Okay, so in the natural vegetation we find forests, we find grasslands, we find shrubs, and also the tundra vegetation. Now these are the four important type of vegetation that we find around us. Okay, so let's look at them. First is the forest. Now forests are grown in equatorial regions. Now equatorial regions are those areas which have hot and humid climatic conditions. So the climate in such regions is both hot and humid. So there the forests thrive, they grow, okay? In these areas the temperature is high and it also receives heavy rainfall, and that supports the growth of forests. Some of the examples that we can see is Amazon basin, which is located in South America, the Zeri basin, which is in Africa, in Sri Lanka, and also we find some forests or equatorial forests in Malaysia and Indonesia. Okay. Now in this forest we not only find trees, different kinds of plants, but we also find large varieties of animals, birds, reptiles. Alright, so they all live and thrive in those forests. So other animals which we find here are gorilla, elephant, monkeys, chimpanzees, python, anaconda, hippopotamus, etc. Okay. Now let's look at another kind of vegetation, which is the grasslands. Now grasslands are located beyond the tropics, okay, beyond the equatorial region, okay. Here the temperature ranges from 20 to 21 degrees Celsius in the summer, okay. Here the rainfall is not heavy, it's moderate to poor, alright. And here, because of the temperature and moderate rainfall, the grasses which are deep rooted, those kind of grasses are found. So some of the grasslands that we find around us all over the globe, which we find on earth, are prairie of USA, pampas of South America, veld of South Africa, and downs of Australia. Now in the grassland regions we find animals such as bison, prairie dog, coyotes, kangaroo, ostrich, and emu. Okay. Now next kind of vegetation that we find is in the desert area. Now in the desert, obviously we know it has very low rainfall, scanty rainfall, okay. And here, because of the scanty rainfall, the vegetation that we find are babul, kikar, date palms, thorny bushes, and cactus, okay. So some of the desert regions around the globe are Sahara and Kalahari deserts of Africa, the Atacama Desert of South America, the Arabian Desert of the Middle East, the Thar Desert of India, and the Great Australian Desert. Now in the desert, the most popular and commonly found animal is camel. Because camel is very popularly found in the desert areas, also it's one of the important animals in the desert. Okay, that is why it is also known as ship of desert. Alright, Apart from camel, other animals which are found in the desert regions are hyenas, gazelles, antelope, snakes, and lizards. The next kind of vegetation that we are going to look at are those found in Tundra region. Now, Tundra region and the vegetation which belong to this region are found in areas around the North Pole, Eurasia, and North America. In this region, in the Tundra region, the temperature is extremely low, okay? And because of extremely low temperature, which means it's cold, the area, the Tundra region is a cold region. Because of that, the plant and animals that live here, that thrive here, they are very limited. There are not varieties of plants and animals that live and grow here. Okay, so some of the animals that are found in Tundra region are polar bear, walrus, caribou, silver fox, and mink. Now let's look at the wildlife which is present in India. Okay, what are the animals and what kind of animals live in India? Now in India we find variety of animals, birds, and reptiles. There are diverse kinds of animals and birds which can be found in India. Okay, tiger is tiger is one of the animals found in India. Now this is also the national animal of our country. Okay, Bengal tigers can be found in the Sundarbans area. Okay, snow leopards can be found in the Himalayan forest and Himalayan region. The Asiatic lion is found in the Gir Forest National Park located in the state of Gujarat. Elephants can be found in the peninsula part of India as well as Assam. One-horned rhinoceros, which is one of the very popular and one of the animals that are found in Assam. Okay, wild buffalo is also found in Assam as well as in the state of Chhattisgarh. Gaur or Indian bison can be found in northern and southern India. Red panda, musk deer, ibex, these animals are found in the Himalayas. Wild yak in the Ladakh. Other animals apart from these animals that we just talked about that can be found all across our country are bears, monkeys, mongooses, hyenas, wolves, jackals, foxes, wild dogs, deer, nilgai, and black buck. Now there are also reptiles which are found in India, and they are snakes, and the kind of snakes that are found here are cobra and krait. Crocodile. So there are two kinds of crocodiles that we find in India: blunt-nosed mugger or long-nosed gharial. Okay. We also find lizards, chameleons, and turtles. Now we also have diverse kinds of birds which are found in India. They are parrots, kingfishers, storks, pheasants, barbets, bulbuls, cuckoos, crows, mynas, kites, and owls. Peacock is also found in our country, and peacock is the national bird of India. Okay. Now wildlife, the plants, the animals that we just talked about, wildlife as well as vegetation, is very important for the environment. Okay, it's very important for maintaining the ecological balance of the environment, to maintain the balance. Okay, if the animals are going extinct and other things are okay, like plants are being taken care of, trees are being planted, the forests are doing well, that also does not mean that the balance is maintained. If any of these components, plants, animals, human beings, if any of these components suffer, then the other components also suffer. So it's very important to balance the ecological, it's very important to maintain the ecological balance. Alright? The plants and animals, when they die, okay, so they form after they die, the ash or the remains of them, that is called humus, okay, the remains of the dead plants and animals. Now that humus is very fertile, okay, or it is one of the elements which leads to increasing the fertility of land, okay. So you see how animals and plants play a big role in making our land fertile. Now, but we know that this balance or the environment or the wildlife and the vegetation is not protected lately, okay. It's being harmed by human beings and their activities. So animals are being hunted by hunters and poachers. Animals are being killed. Now, so much so that some of the animals are extinct and others are on the verge of extinction. If we kill animals and keep on continuing killing animals and hunting for them, then that will cause disturbances to the ecological balance, okay? And just like animals, many birds are also going extinct because they are hunted, they are also caught and then sold illegally, okay. So such practices, such activities of people are leading to extinction of many birds and animals, okay, and that leads to disturbances of ecological balance. Now, apart from this, deforestation and urbanization, these are also processes which are taken, which are done by, which are conducted by us, by human beings, but that is leading to causing disturbances on ecological balance, polluting the environment, and also causing harm to the wildlife as well as the vegetation. This is why, because of how we have been reckless, how we have been careless about our environment, about protection of wildlife and vegetation, we need to preserve wildlife. Because if we preserve wildlife and vegetation, that helps to maintain the ecological balance. That provides us with lot of things which we depend on, okay, like food, shelter, oxygen, medicinal herbs, etc. Okay, and this is why we need to preserve wildlife as well as vegetation. Okay. Now, in order to preserve our wildlife and vegetation, the government of India has also taken certain measures or steps so that the preservation and conservation of wildlife and vegetation is strictly done. Okay. So the government has banned hunting of wild animals and birds. Okay. The hunters and poachers, if they are caught and if they are found by the police or any other officials, then they are put to jail. They are penalized. Okay. They are fined. There are projects which are taken by the government of India. Projects such as Project Tiger. Okay. So, a Project Tiger was introduced in the year 1973 in Corbett National Park. It's one of the tiger projects. Now, these projects, what it does is it works towards the conservation of tigers. Okay, so such measures, such projects helps conserve animals. Okay. Now, by the formation of or setting up establishment of national parks, biosphere reserve, zoological park, and other such areas, the government also aims to protect the wildlife, to protect the wildlife from poachers. Okay, so these are some of the measures that the government has taken or takes in order to conserve the wildlife in India. Okay.